This is my third time making this video. Hopefully, third time's the charm. Anyways, out of 3 videos, y'all selected the edit and breakdown of Just Ride as the next video, so here we are. Let's get into it. What up, y'all? Terry Warfield. Yo, I hope you're having a good day so far. If this is your first time here, yo, a big fat welcome to you. And if you're part of the fam, you're part of the squad, you came back, welcome back. Make sure you drop a hashtag up in here just so I know you're up in the comments. And real quick, I did want to say, as we turn the corner to 11,000 subscribers, I just wanted to say thank you for all of y'all's support, man. It means so much to me. Let's keep this going. So I guess let's go ahead and get into the video, man. Just Ride was supposed to be this big drawn out project that we had planned out, right? Well, what ended up happening is we had a third guy that was supposed to come help us get our rolling shots and behind the scenes shots. Well, he couldn't make it. And after that, we kind of canceled the project for that day. We was like, oh, you know, we'll just do it at a different time when we got all the pieces, all the people we need. And then I'm just sitting around feeling like a creative bum. And then I called my dude like, you know what, man, let's go make some shake. So we literally shot this whole video in an hour. Now, because we didn't have a third person, all I had was my camera, my man had his bike, and I had my DJI Mavic Air 2, and that's all we had. We crunched all of this into 1 hour. Now, looking back, I wish we would have rescheduled it because I had a hard time editing this project just because of the lack of shots, lack of variety. But you know, sometimes you just got to deal with the cards you've been dealt and do it anyways, and that's what we did. So in this video, we're going to cover a few things, man. Number 1, music. Number 2, shot selection, frame rate, what lenses I used for the shots. Number 3, the color grade. Number 4, sound design. Before we jump into this, let me just say this. This is how I choose to do things. I say this in every video, yo. How you choose to do things is up to you. I'm not saying that you need to mirror the way I do it. I'm not saying that this is the best way to do it. This is just how I do it. And I will put chapter markers down in the description to make it easy for y'all. So you might as well get comfy. Let's go ahead and get into it. I got the editing timeline up right here, and let's get it. So starting with the music right here, I used Epidemic Sound. I found this song. Let me put my glasses on, by the way, because I can't see nothing. This is rare form. Y'all never seen these glasses on me. Boom! Straight nerd mode. Gotta fix the hair too, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, this is called The Last Cosmonaut by Mark Tork. If you do want to try Epidemic Sound, in the description there's a free 30-day trial. You can access everything. Cancel it if you don't like it, but I do encourage you to test it out to see if it fits your flow because it works damn good for me. Now that we got that out the way, we can go up to shots, frame rate, what picture profile I used, etc. Number 1, I shot this whole sequence in HLG3, man. I've come to love HLG3. It gives you almost S-Log 2 levels of dynamic range without having to overexpose it by 2 stops and all of that stuff. Now, depending on the version of Final Cut Pro that you have, Final Cut, the newest version, has built-in conversion tools to go from HLG to regular Rec 709 footage so that you can just edit it in post. I prefer to use a LUT called Leeming LUT. It is a conversion LUT, however, it is not free, but what it does is it takes HLG3 BT 2020 footage, converts it to Rec 709 in the computer, but it also corrects all the colors. So what you see on the screen after applying the conversion LUT is exactly what it looked like in the camera. Now, as far as color correction, I did a whole tutorial on how I choose the color grade. That tutorial is right up there. I do recommend checking that video out after this one. But the reason I'm saying that is because I've already gone through and exposure corrected all of these clips right here, right? I already did them all. I'm not gonna do that on camera because it would have took too long. If you wanna see how I do that, all you gotta do is click that link up there. HLG3 straight out the camera. The only thing I do is turn sharpness down and then, you know, edit it in post. Next thing, let's talk about frame rates and resolution. So I filmed this whole sequence in 1080p, 120 frames per second. Now, all y'all know with the A7 III, it don't have the best 1080p 120 frames per second. However, the reason I chose that for this video is because I knew we were on a time crunch. I knew our shot selection was limited, so I was gonna have to play with the clips and stretch them out to fill up the soundtrack. And also, I knew some of those clips I was gonna want to speed ramp and stuff like that. So yes, going back, if I could redo it, I would film it in 4K, take my time, be more deliberate with the shots. But we in a run and gun situation like this, we didn't have a lot of time. 1080p 120 frames per second fit the narrative, and it was still decently lit outside, so the footage wasn't too noisy or too grainy. Now, before we go into the clip by clip analysis, the 3 lenses I used on this shoot: the Sony 24mm G Master I used for most of the shots. I also used the Sony 50mm and also 85mm. All of the rolling shots towards the end were with the DJI Mavic Air 2 because remember, we didn't have a third person to help us get those roller shots. Let's get it here. I'll go through these real quick just so you kind of know what lenses I use for what clips. So first clip, this is absolutely Sony 24mm f1.4. Second clip right here, 24mm f1.4. Third clip, 24mm f1.4. 24mm f1.4, 24mm. This clip was my like establishing shot, so I wanted it to be like a grand clip where you could see everything. So again, 24mm. Now this shot right here was with the DJI Mavic Air 2. I filmed all of the clips from the Mavic Air 2 at 4K 30 just so I could slow them down just a tad to make the shots a little bit more dramatic. So 4K 30 with the DJI Mavic Air 2. Now this clip right here, I used the, hold up, I gotta do the nerd thing, I push my glasses up. The 85mm. The reason I picked 85mm is because I love using foreground when I'm using like 85mm or any longer lens for that matter, because it just gives you like, it creates depth. It makes it like 3D, makes it more cinematic, right? So what I did is there was a trash can or something like there, and I'm like, ooh, that looked dope. So I put it right in front of the camera, and I had my guy walk far away from the camera, so that way it kind of stretched the image and gave you like that 3D look. So right here you can see up here in the corner where this is kind of going out of the frame and the focus is shifting towards him. So moving on to the next clip, this is 85mm. I wanted some isolation for the little detail shots of the helmet and his shoes. 85mm, again DJI Mavic right there. This is another 85mm shot. This is 85mm. I like to use 85mm when I want to get like close up on something, but I don't want it to look wide. So that will allow you to keep the subject in focus, but it'll also compress the background. There go the kids, my bad. 85mm here. Also, that is a 85mm shot right there. This is 24mm, 24mm, 24mm. I love this shot, by the way. It's just so different right here. This shot is 24mm, 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 and then this is the shot where I used the 50mm right here, and that's just because I wanted a little bit of separation, and the rest of the clips were all the DJI Mavic Air 2. Now, I did slow a lot of these clips down, so you can see most of these I used some type of slow motion or speed ramp. There are a few clips where I did use speed ramps. This clip and this clip, I speed ramped these together. And the reason I did that is because this was actually an orbital shot. However, his license plate was in it, and I'm lazy and I didn't feel like masking out that license plate from all of those frames. So I just cut the license plate out and just blended them together. So here's a little trick. If you want to create a transition, if you speed up the tail of one clip and you speed up the beginning of the next clip and you put them together, it creates a seamless transition that looks very, very dope. Now for this one, I did go ahead and put a slide transition on there just to sell the effect even more. I'll play it for you right quick. Boom. I mean, it worked, right? And then that was it. So the rest of these were just traditional shots, and then this last clip right here, I lied, so you can see where I started out fast and then slowed it down and then sped it back up. Now I do like to use sound effects when I'm doing that to kind of bring attention to it, but I'll go over sound effects in 1 second, all right? But that's the general layout of the timeline. A lot of slow motion, a few speed ramps, just to give it like that dramatic effect. So the next thing I had to do, and this is just an honest moment, yo, I forgot to set my white balance before filming. Hey, rookie mistake, right? So all of my clips were at 5,000 Kelvin. I didn't want that. I didn't want that because I wanted to give like this, like a rusty, dirty vibe. Well, not dirty, that's the wrong word, but like a rusty, gritty vibe, right? So what I did is I took an adjustment layer, which if you don't know about adjustment layers in Final Cut Pro, again, watch my color grading tutorial up there or down in the description or something like that. Adjustment layers in Final Cut Pro, yo, lifesavers, all right? So all I did was I took a base adjustment layer and put it right on top of all of my clips. This is it right here. And the way that you get to white balance adjustment in Final Cut Pro, there's actually a few ways. I prefer to go up to color wheels, and there's a temperature slider right here. And I moved the temperature up to 6,500 Kelvin. So that's off, on, off, on. Difference is subtle, but it all fits into the grander scheme of things to get the look you want. The next thing we did, now that I got my exposure correction done, I got my white balance level set, is the actual color grade. So for this, I used a program called Cinema Grade. Now I got to give a shout out to Peter Lindgren because he's the first person I've ever seen using Cinema Grade, and I've always wanted controls in Final Cut Pro that were more like Lightroom, where I could just use sliders to adjust my colors and stuff like that instead of using scopes and vectors and all of that. It's just so much easier. Now, Cinema Grade is not free, so I'm just throwing it out there. You can do all of this stuff in Final Cut Pro. However, Cinema Grade for me does make it easier. So let's click on the second layer. And remember, y'all, when you use adjustment layers in Final Cut Pro, whatever layer is on top waterfalls down to everything below. Now, my whole purpose with Cinema Grade, I wanted to do a few things, right? Number one, I did want to apply my LUT called Heavy. Heavy is a super like punchy, contrasty orange colored LUT that I did make, and I do sell my LUTs. They come in an 8-pack for $9.99. The link is in the description, so if you want your footage to look dope, plus you want to support the channel, go ahead and grab those. But I wanted to use the LUT Heavy, but also I wanted to pull out a little bit of contrast, which I could have done through Final Cut. I could have done all this stuff through Final Cut, like I said, but Cinema Grade makes it real easy. And I wanted to pull out some of the blue tones, the cyan tones, and the green tones, because there was a lot of green in this area because it was so much grass and it just was overwhelming to me, and the sky was super blue and I wanted to take some of that out. So all I did was first thing, go up here, and you could do this with the S curve in Final Cut Pro. However, you can also do it just by bringing the shadows down and also removing the contrast to get like that flatter, more neutral, not so contrasty, quote unquote, film look. So that's what I did here. That's why I pulled some of the contrast out and also crushed the shadows a little bit. Down here, I did increase the saturation up to 17. And down here, you can see the vectors. Now, this is blue. I took out all the saturation. Cyan, I took out all of the saturation. And green, I took it down to -58. I didn't want to completely remove greens, but that's what I did. And then all I did on top of that was use my custom LUT Heavy, which you just go over here to LUTs and then pick whichever LUT you want to use, hit accept, and then Cinema Grade does everything else for you. And now you can see the color grade in action. So this is on, off, on, off, on. I like it. So the last thing I wanted to do is I turned down sharpening in camera. I do not like the way sharpening looks when applied in camera. I much prefer to do it myself in post. So I turned sharpness down in the camera to -7. And then what I did here is grabbed another layer and put that on top, and then just put a sharpening layer on there and set it to 4, right? It's a small difference, so you can see right here, and you may not be able to actually see it on the screen, but I can see it and it does make a difference. It sharpens it up just enough because, like I said, Sony 1080p 120 is kind of soft when it's not super well lit. And in this situation, sun was going down. The light wasn't terrible, but it could have been better. But just a layer of sharpness. So we got our color grade done. We got our sharpening added. All I did up here is I wanted a film burn. You can get film burns from anywhere. Dope way to just make your footage stand out. just put it right on top. Set the blend mode to screen, lower the opacity, and then we got this. That looks dope, man. All right, last thing. So we had to add some sound design because the Mavic Air 2 does not record sound. Now, a moment of transparency. I did not get the bike sounds from Epidemic Sound because even though there are a ton on there, I wanted the sounds to be authentic to what the bike was. This is a Suzuki Gixxer 600. So I'm gonna be honest. I went on YouTube, typed in Suzuki Gixxer 600 sounds, and I just got some sounds off of YouTube. You know, and, hey, don't sue me. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. But the challenge with this is you can't just use one clip for everything because the bike is changing angles, right? Things are going forward and going past in the clip. So you need sound that reflects that. So I'm gonna turn this music off and then I'm gonna play this without the music so you can hear the sounds. Now these sounds down here, the ones you see like C0013, C0015, those were actually clips from the onboard audio. I did make sure I had a mic sitting on top to capture that audio. So those parts were easy. We already had them sound clips. These over here, however, where you see 2007 Suzuki, yeah, those are ones that I got from YouTube. So basically the challenge was matching them up per clip. So for example, in this clip, the bike is coming towards us and then exiting out of the frame. We wanted something that sounded like that. This clip was a drone shot from far away. So obviously we wanted a clip that wasn't as loud, and also the bike was accelerating, so I needed a clip that showed that off. Now, easy way to create dimension and depth when it comes to sound is to change the audio levels on a per clip basis. So obviously, since we're further away, this one wasn't gonna be as loud because there's not a screaming bike right in front of us. So this clip, another example of how you have to pick a clip that fits, because there is a gate passing by in this. We wanted the sound illusion that he's flying past a gate. So same thing. The next clip, the bike is coming from behind us, going in front of us, and accelerating at the same time. And then for our finishing shot, we're far away. Bike is still accelerating, so we needed a sound clip to match them. Now, as you see also, each and every one of these clips has a fade at the beginning and the end. If I didn't put the fade in there, the clips would have just stopped and started abruptly, which doesn't sound natural. So I did put a fade on all of them to make them kind of sound organic, to make them all sound like they flow together. Now, last thing, as far as the sound effects, anytime I'm doing like a transition, I always like to add swooshes. You can get those from Epidemic Sound. Just these two sound effects right here, these portal sound effects. So that's it, just using sound effects to bring attention to speed changes and things like that. But I hope you learned something from this video. I hope you stayed for the whole thing. I can take these off now. But this is my editing workflow when it comes to creating videos like this. And if you found something that you think is helpful, by all means, snatch it, use it for yourself. If you enjoyed this type of video, hey, let me know in the comments. I will do more of these. And yeah, that's all I got for you. So make sure that you drop a like if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't. I probably should have said that at the beginning of the video. But yeah, hey, do it anyways, man. Till next time, piece of chicken grease. I'm out, Terry Warfield. Peace. Boom.